We are doing again a double setup for our live stream. We are doing a live stream, an unplanned live stream rather, because of so many chaotic things that's happening at Miss Universe right now, and we are kind of little bit shook about what's going on, about the things that are happening in Bangkok. Judges are resigning left and right. Appointments of judges are so last minute. We are not very sure on what really is going on, that we are a bit scrambling for answers as of this point. So, the very first live stream that I did for the Miss Universe pageant this year was a live stream on how chaotic and messy the entire Miss Universe pageant has started. And it looks like up until the next Miss Universe is crowned, that same chaos, that same mess is going to be the recurring, the recurring theme of this Miss Universe edition in Bangkok. We all did not expect that it's going to be this messy, because the last time that Bangkok in Thailand hosted the Miss Universe pageant, it went off spectacularly from start to finish. Everybody was happy with what's going on. Everybody was happy with how the pageant was run, how professionally it was run, especially with the involvement of TPN back then. So, this pageant started off with the wrong foot between Nawat and Raul, and it seems to have kept on getting worse, for the lack of a better word, um, from the time that it started up until now. And it kind of feels alien. It kind of feels like this is not the Miss Universe that we've known when we were growing up, because we always believed that the Miss Universe pageant was the pinnacle of integrity and of fair play in the world of pageants. We all believe that. We all believe growing up that the Miss Universe pageant is the kind of pageant that everyone would look up into. Not because they are one of the oldest pageants that there is, but because of the integrity, the inherent integrity and the dignity that people associate with the brand. And unfortunately, over the past several years, starting off after the pandemic, we've started to see a breakdown on the prestige. Now, we've seen a breakdown on the integrity of the brand. So it started with us questioning what is the reason why the Mexican Miss Universe headquarters is not communicating well with Nawat's production company, who is producing the Miss Universe pageant. And it kind of snowballed and escalated as the days go by. There has been fights in between, a lot of internal memos that has been published in their socials, and now we end up with this problem. So it has been so much of a scandal after scandal that it kind of feels like we're tired when it comes to Miss Universe. And we've come to the point where it feels like no matter what the fans clamor for, no matter what the fans are gonna ask from the Miss Universe pageant, I don't think that we are going to be getting a fair fight. That we will be getting a even playing field for everyone, for the candidates at this point. I don't think that anyone who's going to be winning Miss Universe will always be tainted with all of these issues. So, uy, may mga comment on on YouTube. Hi Adam, hello, hello, hello. Hey, Adam G is joining us from our live stream. Margaret Pascual is also here on our YouTube saying, I think this will be the last time I will follow MU. I've been a fan for as long as I know, and the current MUO makes toxicity normal. Lost my faith in MU to go back to its former glory. Yeah, Margaret, you're not the only one who feels that, because I also feel like this edition, no matter who wins, whether it's a Latina, an Asian, whether it's European or it's an African, there will always be a tainted image to the brand at this point in time. And I feel like this is not something that we all wanted. And it's unfortunate that this is the situation that we are having now, that we are questioning the integrity of the judges that the Miss Universe is you know is selecting, because we have on one hand a boyfriend of a candidate being named as a judge for the social responsibility projects of the Miss Universe candidates. Yes, it is not as big as being in the final selection or the preliminary selection, but it still taints a bad image into the brand. We also have, of course, a fan of a candidate judging from the preliminaries to the finals. Questionable, very questionable yung association. So it does not bode well for the organization. Then we have, among the initially six judges that were selected, four of them were Latin judges, and out of the eight judges that was supposed to be in the final committee, there is less representation for other people who are from other continents. So that is a little bit questionable for me. And then we have Omar Harfouch with his Instagram stories, his posts on social media, that he does not believe with the integrity and the transparency of the Miss Universe voting system, and he does not trust that anymore. It also feels so heavy going into the preliminaries, and I kind of feel bad, because I feel bad not for myself as a content creator or a pageant fan, but I feel bad for the ladies, especially the candidates, because this is a very hallmark pageant, being the biggest that the Miss Universe has been. We never had a Miss Universe pageant that breached the hundreds in terms of candidate participation. And this would have been a great opportunity for the Miss Universe organization to invigorate the dying brand. People are still questioning, why do we still have pageants? And it does not help the image of pageantry to have Miss Universe be involved in these scandals about potential, pageant rigging. The Latinos have a word for it. They call it tramoya. And I kind of feel that that kind of association is now permanently a fixture of the Miss Universe brand, and I feel bad for it. Not because we as pageant fans, we're not gonna have a very interesting pageant. What do you call this pageant? Show later on, but rather because I feel that the energy and the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears that the candidates have wasted in this pageant is not commensurate to what the playing field, the game, is about. Because the first thing that really came into mind was the pronouncement from one of the owners and preliminary judges, one of the people from within the Miss Universe organization, that a top 30 have already been selected, considering that we're not even at the point where they had competed at the national costume, the swimsuit, or the evening gown preliminaries. So how did they be able to select a top 30 for the final selection to judge on, considering that they only had the closed door interviews, and we did not have a national costume, swimsuit, and gown competitions yet, which is supposed to be part of the four scored sections of the show. And this is something that even Raul Rocha kind of mentioned in what do you call this? Kind of mentioned in a post on the social media of the pageant. So everything is kind of heavy right now. Okay, I'm gonna try to make sense out of this because I'm doing this by the fly and I'm trying to collect my thoughts in my head. But before we go to that, I want to go through the comments first before we start with the points that I hope they can address for the Miss Universe. Okay? Comments here, sabi ni Adam, hey Adam G, ang aga ng pre-show mo ha, ha ha ha. Adam, kailangan kasi I need to get it out of my system before watching the Miss Universe preliminaries so that hindi ko dala-dala habang inoobserbahan yung mga girls na luto naman to so there's no need for me to really pay attention. So I need to get it out of my system so that when I look at the performances rather of the girls, I have a clean slate. So any baggage that I've been having since last night with all of this commotion and scandal going on, I need to have it like vented out, removed out of my system so that when I evaluate the girls later on, I am able to do so with a fresh set of eyes. Ikaw ang magkwento, Adam, kung anong nangyayari dyan sa Bangkok dahil ikaw yung may access sa loob, di ba? So, comment ka. Kung may mga gusto kang sabihin sa akin, message mo ko. Okay, Adam? Margaret Pascual says, we feel the same way, Jason. Kung hindi lang talaga kay Atisa, last ko na itong pag-follow sa Miss Universe, promise. Actually, hindi lang dapat kay Atisa tayo naging worried about. Kasi we should be worried for all of the girls because whether or not if the judges have already pre-selected their top 30 or the organization have already selected their top 30 without even seeing their performance in the evening gown, swim, and the national costume, which are judged segments, then everything is just going to be just for show. There's no point of having all of these knowing that there is already a top 30. It's just going to be a wallpaper of sorts because you're just there. The girls are just there for entertainment and not for the competition. So yun yung masaklap. Vina Marshall, far from being a disadvantage, this new panel seems destined to see in Atisa what many of us already do: authenticity, clarity, grace, and innovation. I think what they mean is that they had the top 30 only for the interviews. But then again, Amar Harfuch had posted in his Instagram stories that a top 30 has been selected. And that top 30 is just going to be the one that the finals judges are going to judge on based on the finals. It doesn't make sense because it came from a person from within the Miss Universe organization na may top 30 na. So that is the point there. That is something that is very unclear to all of us. So let's unpack things first. I noticed that this is not going to be a regular Miss Universe pageant like it was before, because I started noticing that instead of 1 week into the competition, the judges should have already been named, both for the preliminaries and for the finals. Not just days before the finals, they're gonna mention who are the judges are. Because during Paula Sugart's time, I remember that 1 week after registration, they have already dispersed through proper channels all of the names of the judges for the preliminary and for the finals committee selections. This did not happen this year, so that's one thing. The second thing that I wanted to point out is that during a live stream where Nawat is being interviewed by Thai media pages, and I'm thankful for Thai media pages like Amustan and Nonerts who are able to translate the interviews that is posted when Nawat is speaking in the local language, was that he mentioned that originally Raul and Nawat are supposed to select 4 judges each. And he mentioned in that interview that if Raul wanted to add another judge, then it will be to the advantage of who Raul is going to want to become the next Miss Universe. Because instead of a 4 even split, it becomes one-sided. So it was a bit concerning for me when they started posting the first 6 members of the judging panel, with 4 of them coming from Venezuela, from Cuba, from Mexico, and I forgot one other. While the remaining two, the remaining 2 judges of color, people of people of color, POCs, were Claude Makalele and Omar Harfouch, who are French Lebanese, and one from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So that in itself, there is not yet an Asian representation there. Then we received the news that the last 2 judges are going to be Miss Universe Thailand in 1998 and Louis Heredia. So that in itself, there is a disadvantage for Asians because there are 4 sitting Latino judges in the Miss Universe final selection panel, where it would have been better to have a couple of Europeans, a couple of Africans, a couple of Asians, and a couple of Latinos to make it a little bit more even. I am hoping for that kind of representation. Now, some of you might point out that during the Trump time, it was all American judges. Yes, but then again, during the what do you call this? During the time of Donald Trump handling the Miss Universe organization, you had Paula Sugar there, who is the one who makes sure that everything is handled in a proper manner. Now, I know it doesn't sound like we supported Paula Sugar thorough before she left the organization. I am saying is Paula Sugar is only human. In as much as she was a great president of the Miss Universe organization, I also acknowledge that there were some mishaps here and there during her tenure as president. However, she always stressed on the need for the integrity of the Miss Universe judging process, the integrity of the Miss Universe brand be upheld high. That is something that I am totally missing right now at the Miss Universe pageant that is happening in Bangkok. Because when a judge steps down from the judging process, from being a judge, I'm saying that I am, taking a step because I don't feel that the transparency in the judging process is thoroughly open. That says something about the organization that is handling it. If we thought that, we have a very problematic, handling of the Miss Universe brand under Kun An, then you also have Raul here and Nawat, who is making it even worse based on what we've seen so far with the Miss Universe pageant. I'm kind of in the fence saying that this pageant is going to be the most memorable, or this pageant is going to be the most notorious edition of the Miss Universe pageant in its 74-year history. So that is the kind of disappointment that I am facing, and I am hoping that we all make sense together in this live stream of what's going on. I cannot say that I am happy with what's going on, because at one hand there is a certain point of vindication on my end that I feel vindicated, pointing out the conflict of interest from Miss Paraguay's boyfriend as a sitting judge for the Beyond the Crown social responsibility project segment, or with Louis Heredia's, alleged or support on his very open on social media that he supports, our very own Atisa Manalo. Because I feel that if Atisa Manalo wins Miss Universe, people will clock her saying that, oh, because you have a fan of yours as a sitting judge supporting you, so it negates your win as an authentic win. People will be thinking that. Then there is also the um, unfair advantage of Miss Universe Latina, being that Andrea Mesa was a sitting judge, or sitting coach, if I'm not mistaken, of the Miss Universe Latina reality show several months back. So all of these conflicts of interest does not serve one, but rather it serves to negatively impact what we all think about the Miss Universe brand. So, kanya-kanyang issue, kanya-kanyang advantage, and they're leveraging against each other in a negative way, to the point that probably the best thing to salvage this edition is to crown a black woman, a woman of color, because that would probably the best neutral choice. So that hindi ganon kabigat o kalalim yung questionableng result later on. Because I'm promising you guys, whether it's a Latina or an Asian who's gonna win Miss Universe this year, people are gonna question because of all of these scandals that's popping up here and there. And then just lately, magdag pa si Sahar Binyas, the Miss Universe Persia, who stepped back and did not continue to compete, saying that she did not compete, or she did not push through with her participation in Miss Universe this year because the organization is trying to silence her on certain political issues. So this again, for me, is like one scandal after the another, one negative publicity after another, and it keeps on piling against the Miss Universe brand. So I am left with this feeling that I'm not gonna see a fair fight come Miss Universe finals on November 21st. And that is scary for me because I have been a staunch supporter and a defender of the Miss Universe brand from the very first time that I learned about the pageant in the 1980s. The first time I watched on black and white television the Miss Universe pageant, to the time that it was held in Manila, to the time that I started watching Miss Universe in Doral, in Las Vegas, in Bangkok. All of these things for me is like it's weighing me down because I had so much high hopes and high regard for the pageant that I am now seeing its downfall, simply because the people behind the scenes, the leadership behind the Miss Universe organization, cannot get their shit together. And it's frustrating because when it was, I remember in the 90s, during the time that Dayanara Torres won, Shushmita Sen won, the pageant was being owned by the Procter and Gamble group of companies. That is the reason why you would see Miss Universe being supported by the Procter and Gamble na mga brands in their live telecast. For me, that was the pinnacle of the Miss Universe brand because that was what I grew up with. Of course, I know for historical factual historical data nowadays that the peak of the Miss Universe brand was actually in the 70s and the 80s, where the girls would live with fur coats, with jewelries, with apartments and cars as part of their prize packages that would probably go from 500, half a million US dollars to $1 million in total worth. That was the kind of Miss Universe that a lot of millennials and Gen Xers and even a certain degree the boomers grew up or grew old with. And this is not the kind of Miss Universe that we're seeing now. We're seeing that they need to push for voting on social media because that's the only time that they would have opportunities to be seen by the media people. I am glad this year they brought the press junket at Miss Universe because that was something that has not been done for the longest time. The last time that I learned that there was a press junket was during Catriona, no, during Zozibini's time. So imagine a lot of the traditions that we've grown up with the Miss Universe have gone, are no longer in place, and it feels so heavy. It feels so difficult to fathom that this is where we're at Miss Universe. That we are talking about the integrity of the judges or the integrity of the judging panel because we cannot um, we cannot understand the concept of conflict of interest, and that has been something that I have been in contention with a lot of pageant fans on especially on Facebook. I know everyone is a little bit more vocal on Instagram, and I am able to reason out that whether it is pro Thai, pro Filipino, or pro Latina, the judging panel is going to be. It needs to be even out for all because ultimately it's the brand that's going to suffer. Whoever wins Miss Universe will always be tainted by the selection panel that is a little bit more skewed to certain candidates or certain regional candidate groups. So that is what I am fighting for because every time that they would have this kind of scandal, the Miss Universe organization would have this kind of scandal pop up in our feeds, the more that it reduces, it lessens down the integrity and the prestige of the brand. Okay, let me just uh, check out some of the comments here because there's a number of comments already here on our YouTube channel. Um, The Philippines on top says, ano meron dito? Ang tsaka na nagsasalita. Puro fake news. Guys, hindi po ako nagsasabi kung wala akong resibo. If you look at my social media page, lahat may screenshots. Lahat may nakalagay na, what do you call this? May nakalagay na resibo. So, hindi po natin ugali na maglabas ng mga ganitong mga points of view kung wala naman tayong basis. Okay? If you want screenshots of Louis Heredia being a fan of Atisa from the last year, I can show you the screenshots on my Instagram and on my Facebook page. If you want a screenshot of Miss Paraguay and her boyfriend that is a judge for the Beyond the Crown, I have that as well on my social media channels. Okay? Charles Mateo, saan mapapanood ang Natcos? Go to the Miss Grand International page on YouTube. I think they have the MGI TV. I think they're gonna have it broadcasted there. Okay, Benjamin Grino says if Heredia has delicadeza, he should not have accepted the position as a judge. That's on his conscience at this point in time. Cass Santos says, nope, this year it's all rigged. It's not fair, impartial competition. I wish they would sell the organization to people with integrity and know-how. I'm from Puerto Rico, next year's host, but it got cut off. But there's a pushback here in Puerto Rico to not be the host country next year. I would have loved to cover the Miss Universe pageant in Puerto Rico. Me and Mark Sobrajahani, we are actually talking about it that if our schedules did not match the schedules in Thailand this year. Maybe it's Puerto Rico that's going to be our uh, first travel together to watch the Miss Universe pageant live. Um, it would be my first time to go to the Enchanted Island. That's what Puerto Rico is named. La Isla de Encanto, if I'm not, if my Spanish is right. I would have loved to see your beaches because I've heard that your beaches is one of the most pristine beaches in the world. I would have loved to go in Puerto Rico and experience the culture, experience the wonderful people there, the food, of course, the music. And I am hoping that for some miraculous reason, we find a Miss Universe this year that would have appease everyone's bubbling up, boiling emotions. Okay. Um, Ira says, sa mga nega dyan, may kay magsalita si Sashes&Scripts. Thank you, Ira. I am saying this not just as a content creator, but as someone who has loved the pageant for the longest time. I wouldn't invest 5 years of my life, covering it in Doral, in Las Vegas, in Bangkok, if it was not something that I am not passionate about. However, from what I'm seeing right now, it feels like the people in the organization are so hell bent to destroy the image of the brand, and that's not just sad but also scary because instead of uplifting the brand, the things that's happening right now is so negative to the brand, so negative to the Miss Universe image. Margaret Pascual says, yes, that's the Miss Universe I grew up with. Edward George de Vera says something very interesting here. Sabi niya, maybe not integrity but impartiality. I agree. I hope that the people who are selected as judges, you might not control your certain biases, but I do hope that you judge all the girls in an impartial manner there. Margaret Pascual, sabi niya may mga taong kanal na naligaw. Yeah, there's always one or two na ganon. AI on a shoestring says conflict of interest can be subjective. What feels improper to one person may be acceptable to another. Maybe that's why transparency matters. Maybe it's time to bring back live scores. I agree. And I also hope that they bring back the Olympic type of scoring where the highest and the lowest scores are scrapped. Okay. Okay, where? AI on a shoestring continues. You have handled that very well. Kudos to you. Calm, cool, and collected. Thank you as well. Ira says, please don't forget to click the thumbs up button on this live stream. Okay. Coco Zen says, let the organizers choose a queen that they will work for 1 year, one that cooperates and is not a headache for them. I agree, Coco, but I also would hope that they would select a Miss Universe that is not tainted by the integrity issues of the selection committee. I am hoping that despite all of these problems, issues, scandals, controversies, the judging panel rather, would still be able to get out of their biases and score the girls in a manner that is fair to everyone and evaluate them not because they have a favorite girl or they just don't like certain girls from certain regions, but rather evaluate and get to know the girls truly and become the kind of judges that would think of, will this girl be the best girl for the Miss Universe title, rather than this girl is coming from my country, so I'm gonna score her because she's my favorite. I'm gonna give her the highest score because I am friends with her national director, or because I have a relationship with her, so she's going to be the next Miss Universe. It should not work like that. The Miss Universe should be a person who is the best among the girls that there is, rather than because people who are judging have certain biases towards her. It should not be like that, because I remember even during the time when Catriona competed at Miss Universe, you have Rochelle Singson, who is a full-blooded Filipina, joining the judging table, and then you have a French Filipina, Monique Levillier, as one of the judges also in the competition. You have to understand that Catriona Gray has never had any working relationship or personal relationship with either of the two. That is not the case in some of the candidates this year. I feel that as a Miss Universe, as a Miss Universe judge, or rather as a member of the selection committee, the Miss Universe organization should have vetted properly, make sure that there is no conflict of interest, because this is going to be negatively impacting whoever is going to win later on. Because if let's say Miss Philippines won, it's because she is a fan of this kind of judge. Miss Mexico won because a sitting Miss Universe from Mexico was part of the judging panel. And then there's also the negative side effect of that, when there's a Filipino judge, that's why we didn't win, because every time a Filipino judge sits at the Miss Universe judging table, the Philippines rarely even wins. It happened in 1991. It happened in 2014. It happened in this year or that year. And then on the other hand, people can even invent scenarios in their head that, the reason why Fatima Bosch didn't win because Andrea Meza would probably only want to be the only Miss Universe the only current latest Miss Universe from Mexico. So people can invent that kinds of scenarios, and we are so inundated with so much negative news on our social media feed that sometimes even those who are gullible, who have no idea of what's going on in pageantry, can get persuaded by these people who invent scenarios. So that is what we're trying to point out here, that this is a no-win situation for everybody. So the only way, and I think if you look back at the live stream that I had with Mark Sobrajahani, we discussed this in length, that because there is a pull and push between two forces, it might happen that the next Miss Universe that's going to win is somewhere neither from those camps, that we might not be seeing a Asian Miss Universe this year or a Latino Miss Universe this year, because just to be safe, they would probably cancel each other out and then just vote for the one who's in the middle. And most likely it might be the Africans, it might be the Caribbean women who's going to be blessed with this scenario, because suddenly people would start thinking that maybe someone from the Caribbean and Africa or the Mediterranean would be the best choice for the Miss Universe title, because they are not tainted by an Asian leaning pageant judges or a Latino leaning pageant judges. So that is what I am thinking right now, and I am hoping that all the girls, show your stuff. You only have 20 seconds. Nawat says in another interview that each girl will only have 20 seconds on stage to impress the judge. So please make that 20 seconds that you are on stage count, because that is the only shot that you're gonna get. You only get 3 20-second blocks on the national costume, on the swimsuit, and the evening gown competition. So please do make use of that time. Please make sure to know where the camera is, and sundan nyo yung camera so that you are able to, to maximize your exposure while you are on camera and you are on stage. Because if you don't perform your median best and nobody is there to chronicle it, to echo it, then even if you should have been made into the top 10 or the top 30 of the pageant, nobody's gonna remember your performance because nobody's gonna be talking about it. And the only way that the girls would have equal opportunities and chances to make it into the top 30 is when they perform well. Then again, there's also this issue about the top 30 already being selected. Even without the national costume, evening gown, and swimsuit rounds in the prelims haven't been done yet. So again, all of these issues, all of these scandals and controversies, it's really not helping the brand. And I am hoping that the Miss Universe, the true Miss Universe fans here would rally for equality and fairness in judging, and they would support the girls, because after this is all done, I am sure that there will be a lot more of the candidates who will be talking about their experience, about how it felt to be in the room where Nawatis is scolding Miss Mexico, about the questions, the very personal questions that is not gonna affect the performance of the girl as Miss Universe being asked of them. Miss Estonia was very brave to to talk about it, and I am a little bit skeptical that because she has been vocal about it, they might shun her out from the top 30. And a top 30 is already a very democratic, number when it comes to semifinalists. And really, I am really afraid that we might not be seeing a fair judging process, a fair selection of Miss Universe in this audition. So the only way for the judges to really hone in and do their jobs right is for pageant pages and pageant fans to call them out on inequalities, on things that are not equitable for all, and really call them out for the things that we find wrong in the way that the pageant is being executed. Okay, Chinchin Teberu says, would you join Miss Queen International in the future? Chinchin, if that is the highest level of insult that you can throw at me, then I really am worried for you, because I've had more intelligent, more witty, more funny insults hurled at me when I was studying as a clothing tech student at the University of the Philippines. Do better, honey. Okay, AI on a shoestring says, Atisa has a real chance of winning, and Heredia's presence creates tough optics. I agree. Continuing here, but we shouldn't fault him. Judging Miss U is likely a bucket list moment, and there's no reason to assume bias. We're hoping for that, and we're hoping that patunayan ng bawat judge, not just Louis Heredia, but everyone in the judging panel, from the Latino to the Asian, the remaining judges, to be fair and equitable in the way that they score the girls. Coco Zen says, nope, the world sees Mexico as a heroine of empowerment, but for the organizer, she was a headache who was not promoting sponsors. That is a headache they want to avoid. AI on a shoestring continues, people may see Mexico as a heroine, but both she and Nawat handled the conflict poorly. That's why everything went downhill. Loka ever. Back then, most of the judges are from the US din naman. Yes, and I agree. But if you haven't noticed, if you look at the optics back then, even if majority of the judging panel are Americans, they are ethnically diverse. They are professionally diverse. So I remember that at times, when they are looking for a Miss Universe that is more of a model type, they had Marcus Schenkenberg there, they have Stephanie Seymour there, they have Tyson Beckford there. So, ethnically, tama ba? They are diverse there. And then they had fashion photographers from Italy, from Rome, and from the US who sat at the judging table. I remember there was a time where what's his name? Where there were names like Beulah Ko, who is a Asian actress in the U.S. Sat at the judging table. So there is cultural diversity, and there is diversity in thought and profession. So even if they are mostly Americans. Um, so okay. Sabi ni Voletco, sabi ni Lavinia, 4 lang nanonood sa'yo. Kala ko naman totoo, 30 naman. Grabe talaga si... You know what? I haven't paid attention to her for the longest time because there's no news that is pertinent to her unless it has something to do with her legal case, her cyber libel case. Lavinia has been tagged as a bully, has been tagged as someone who has a conflict even with her wards. I remember she trained Krishna and Krishna Gravides, and of course Yana Adwana, who went on to become, Miss World Asia and Miss Earth Air. So I'm not affected with what she is saying about me because her claim to fame is that she's currently having a legal problem. So maybe if she focuses on her legal case that is in Ilocos, rather than paying attention to my live stream and to my content, maybe she would have a better chances of winning her case. Yon. Loka ever, like PR, Denise Quinones, who also won on their own soil with Dayanara and Mark as a judge pad. Yes. I think we've discussed that topic a long time ago. AI on the shoestring says, kaya yung mga kanal dyan, umalis na nga kayo. Dina Marshall says, Miss Mexico should have behaved with more emotional intelligence when she was having a heated argument with Nawat. I think she did naman. She carried herself with much grace as the situation escalated. Ayan. Koala Moon says, to agree with the point you were making earlier, it's not about the diverse composition of judges, but the presence of people within the org that uphold integrity from the start pa lang. Miss Universe, Vina Marshall says, Miss Universe is a diplomat because she's an ambassador, and ambassadors do not walk out of arguments. I kind of agree with the comment here from Max Rios saying that I think Miss Mexico handled the situation very well. I think she did. She did walk out with dignity, and rather than accept the berating, the public humiliation in that kind of situation, she chose dignity over being a doormat. And kudos, to Fatima Bosch for standing up for herself. Okay, what else? I think I want to wrap this up with one simple message. I am hoping and praying that the Miss Universe image would survive this, because it kinda is a difficult thing to it's kind of difficult to navigate this very highly volatile situation. I just hope that the people behind the scenes, the people in management, in leadership positions, understand crisis management well, that they are able to manage and navigate the tough situation that they are having right now. When people are questioning your integrity, the best thing that you can do is always to stay true and honest, so that um, people will eventually see that. They say that time is the true test of honesty, the true test of truth. So I am hoping that years from now on, we might be able to look back at this crucial moment for the pageant and dissect it in such a way and manner that we are not too emotionally invested and see situation as it is. Um, I am hoping that at the end of the day, at the end of November 21st, we are gifted with a winner who truly deserves the title, because that person, whoever she is, deserves it. And we as fans, we deserve someone who is not tainted by the controversies of the current Miss Universe edition. Okay, so guys, I just wanted to, to reiterate my support to all the girls who are competing. I am going to always advocate for you, and for you to have a level playing field, even if my fellow countrymen, my fellow Asians, and the international pageant community will come out after me and accuse me of all of this stuff, because I feel and I deeply understand how it is to be in a position where things are not equal, and I know how it feels to be in a situation where our fates, your fates, is on the hands of people who we feel should have the integrity to do what's right. So to the fans out there, you can, you can throw anything that you want at me, as long as I am hoping you are fair to all the girls, not just to the girl that you are supporting, but you are fair to everyone in the competition. And in the Filipino vernacular, huwag tayong manlamang, dahil ayaw din naman natin ang tayo ang nalalamangan. So do not treat others in such a way that you don't want to be treated. So that's all I can say about that. And I do hope, as we move towards the preliminary competition, which starts at 1 p.m. in Bangkok, and 2 p.m. here in the Philippines, we are able to vent it out of our system, all of these frustrations, and focus on our favorite girls, focus on the candidates, and give them the kind of support that they need. Okay? So thank you very much for everyone who joined in our live stream here on Instagram and here on YouTube. Thank you very much for supporting us in this live stream. But before we leave, I do hope you leave a thumbs up, and you follow us here on YouTube, and subscribe on our channel, so that we have more of these, not just entertaining but thought-provoking content and conversations later on. So thank you everyone, and thank you very much for everything that you've provided in terms of support, via comments, via your reactions to our posts on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. It really helps us, and we really appreciate it. So thank you very much for everyone. I hope that you enjoy the remaining hours of the day and enjoy the preliminary competitions later on. Thank you guys, and see you again soon. Bye everyone.